Hi everyone, hope you're all well. Today's video is going to be a quick little guide to something that I've been asked quite a lot, and that's how I make my Pokemon cries. The answer I keep giving is trial and error, but at least maybe you'll see a little bit more clearly what I mean by that in this video. I use the site bfxr.net as well as Audacity, both of which are free to use. I'll talk through two previous cries that I made, as well as walk you through one that I want to make for an evolution line. So the first one I wanted to show you is the Pokemon Stokula that I introduced in my last video. Its cry is based on this really specific part of the song Dracula by Tame Impala. The way the bass sounds like it's kind of cackling really appealed to me, and I knew I wanted something similar for Stokula's cry. Now obviously I couldn't directly copy that part and paste it into Audacity. I don't even know if it's even possible to separate elements like that, but the best thing I could do was try to emulate it. So I found this generic evil laugh clip on YouTube and brought it into Audacity, where I slowed parts and changed pitch, basically just messed around until I had an end result, which was like this. So it's obviously not the same as that bass sound, but it's close enough and gets the idea across. The second Pokemon I want to show you is the final form to my fire starter. With Taravage, I knew that I wanted a proper bull bellow, and after messing around in BFXR, I realised I couldn't achieve it with just that. So again, I found a generic bull sound clip from YouTube and brought it into Audacity to fiddle around with. I didn't feel it was enough though, so I did generate a quick explosion sound in BFXR and overlaid it onto the bellow. One of the questions I got was how to add real noises. Finding those generic sound clips has definitely saved me a couple of times. Other times, like with Shamgin, I recorded the sound myself and distorted it to absolute hell on Audacity. I don't have the original track to show you, but I'd be too embarrassed to make you listen to it anyway. Another question was, where do I find inspiration for the sounds I want to evoke? So I have mild sound to colour synesthesia, and all that means is sometimes when I hear certain sounds, I get an image of shapes or colour in my head at the same time. Sometimes it can work in reverse, but not as often. But it helps me in this instance when I'm generating random noises on BFXR, and sometimes it helps me picture the Pokemon it's for. Other times if I'm looking at a design I've done, I'll know what it needs to sound like. Taravage being an obvious example. But another example is Faragal, who was inspired when I generated this sound. And after her, I knew that Mirthrum would need harp themes, so I took elements of the dive theme from Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So now let's walk through a full evolution line, and I'll try to explain what I'm doing as I go. Okay, so here is the website that I use, that I'm always mentioning in my descriptions. It's bfxr.net. As you can see, you have all of these different sound effects on the left, and then different sound wave effects here in the middle. The reason I keep saying to people that like when people are asking me how do I actually do the cries, and I usually respond with trial and error, because that's literally all it is. There's the randomize button here. I will always choose that. I'll click that until I find a sound that is interesting to me, and then I'll use all of these different sliders to modify the sound until I like it. Yeah, so as an example, I will show you how I come up with the sound for, or the cry for, this particular Pokemon. So I know that I want something that becomes loud and aggressive almost, but I want there to be elements of water sounds in there. Okay, so basically I'm just going to do it. It'll be easier to show it rather than explain. So I'll just go to randomize. Already that sounds pretty cute. For the base form, something cute is good. I want to keep going though. Okay, so I found this one. So because this is how it is now, I can try all of these different wavelengths to see if it comes up with something more interesting. I like that. I also like that. Don't like that. That's okay. No. I quite like that one because it sounds like an animal making some kind of like a purring noise. It sounds a bit cat-like actually, but that's fine. It's kind of cute. So I'm going to go down all of these slides now and I'm going to just mess around until I get something I prefer. Something like that I like to use for fairy types, where it's a little bit like all over the place and a bit airy-fairy, essentially. But not for this. So I'll cycle through everything like pretty quickly. So it might sound really annoying, but that's basically all I do. Okay, so this is the sound I'm going to settle on for now. So it's fine, but I might want a secondary sound behind it just to kind of flesh it out. Now, for a lot of my first form Pokemon, I'm usually happy to keep it at like a singular sound, because then I feel like it definitely helps with making the evolutions more impressive when you have more sounds layered together. So I'm going to just export this as a WAV file, and then I'm going to bring it into Audacity, and then I'll play around with it there. So I have imported this sound into Audacity. So you just basically go to File, Import, Audio, and then you just source wherever you saved the file to. So, okay, just again, this is what it sounds like. That's fine. I want to copy and paste it and see what it's like if I bring the pitch down a little bit. That's cute, okay. It sounds a little bit silly, so I'm going to distort maybe. See, and now this is where the trial and error bit comes in. Same thing with the website. All I do here is I just go through every single different effect and I play around with it. If it works, I keep it. If it doesn't, I undo it. So I never know like what I'm going to do when I go into one of these edits. It's all very, look at the draw. Okay, I'm just going to mute the second audio thing now and just fiddle around with the first one. I might bring the pitch down a little bit with it as well. A little bit more. Okay. Grand. So now both of them. What if I move this one over a bit? Oops. Okay, so that kind of layers the sounds a little bit, just enough to kind of enrichen the sound just a bit. Okay, so this bit is unnecessary, I'll cut that. So I'm actually pretty happy with how that sounds for this Pokemon, Big Ollie. And now I'll see what I can do with the evolution. So I'm just going to go to File, Export Audio, and then it'll bring up this little thing here, this little window. And yeah, like anything else, you just select where it's going to go. So now I have the file imported again as a singular audio wavelength, just because it's easier for me to work with as like a base for the evolution. So this is what the evolution looks like. This is Ollie Pest, and he's becoming a more aggressive and, you know, like an angry little teenager kind of personality. So this has to sound more vicious. So I'm going to maybe pitch it down another little bit and speed it. So there is an option to change speed and pitch, but I feel like it never really works as well as just doing them separately. So I'm going to copy this as well and add mono track, paste it. So I have 2 copies of the same thing. And I'm going to do the same as I did last time, where I'm going to shift this one over a little bit to see what it sounds like. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, I quite like that. It sounds like it's echoing itself as if it's underwater. I quite like that. Maybe one of them could go a bit lower again, as in like change the pitch lower. Okay, now because I want to try adding a reverb onto this, because again, I feel like it kind of captures that effect of being underwater. But because it's going to lengthen the sound a bit, I want to give it a bit of space for the reverb to kind of echo a little bit. So I'm going to generate, silence, and then whatever it says, I'll just say generate. Select both clips and then right click and join clips. So that way I have all of this empty space afterwards now. It's too much, I won't need all of that, but it'll give this audio plenty of space to reverb. I know there are presets, I never actually use them. So, Big Cave, let's see what that sounds like. Oh, that's a bit long. Okay, so we'll go to a cathedral. No. Ambience? No, those last too long. So I'm going to go back to default. Okay, that's a little bit snappier. So you see the audio length has kind of extended a little bit now. Delete all of that excess and go back to the beginning and see what it sounds like. I quite like that. I'm going to mute this one, the bottom one, and I'm going to go back to the top and see if I can make it sound a little bit more animal-like. So I'm going to go into distortion and play around with that. Okay, so now this is what that sounds like. Not too different, but there's a little bit of a crackle to it that to me sounds a little bit more like a creature. So now if I unmute this bottom file and I play both together, yeah, I'm happy with that. So that, to me, feels like an appropriate cry evolution to the previous Pokemon. So again, I'm going to go export audio, go here, I'm going to rename it to Olipest. Yeah, I'm just saving it to my desktop. That's fine. All of that is fine. And I'm going to get rid of these. Import audio and bring in that new file. Okay, so after a little bit of fiddling around, this is what I have. So I just basically pitched down the previous evolution's cry to get this. And then I copied and pasted it and added a reverb and what else did I do? Sped it up and reduced the volume a little bit. So that's fine, but I feel like it's missing something. So I want to go back into BFXR and I have this sound, which is the explosion sound. I just kind of kept clicking that until this one came up. I don't know if that's going to work, if it's going to be the bit that I'm missing, but I want to try it. Actually, I should go through the... Oh, that's fun. Actually, maybe that one's better. Oh, okay, well now I need to edit it again. Okay, so now this is what I've come up with, and I feel like it kind of sounds like you're hearing something in, like really loud, but underwater in the distance. It's quite subtle, so let's see what that sounds like layered with the other cry. Okay, so here it is imported into Audacity. I've just realised I never showed you or introduced what the Pokemon is. This is what it looks like. Its name is Olivorus, and basically it's just a giant sea serpent. Now with that extra sound, let's see what everything together sounds like. Okay, so it's not very noticeable. I'm going to increase the volume. Try that again. Okay, it's still not really doing anything. I'm going to increase the tempo a little bit. I need it to be around 1 second 30, so I'm going to bring that. Maybe let's make it louder again, just a bit. Okay, and now? There's that little bit right at the beginning that's too loud, so I'm going to delete that. And I feel like it ends a bit too abruptly, so I want to see if I can fade that out a little bit. Okay, I don't understand what any of this means. I'm just going to exit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to generate that silence track again, and I'm going to do my favorite effect. I'm going to add a reverb. I don't need it to change too much. I just need it to kind of naturally fade that clip out. Right, so I ended up moving that top file over to the right a little bit, and I feel like maybe that helped. It kind of makes it sound like it's echoing very loudly underwater. So I think I'm happy with that. Yeah, so I'm just going to export that, and then I'm going to bring the 3 files in together, listen to them consecutively, and then see if they work as an evolution line. So here the 3 of them are together. We have Bigali, Olipest, and Olivorus, the 3 cries together. So let's listen to the 3 of them together and see if they work. I'm going to mute the latter 2 and play Bigali. Fine, I like that. Mute that, unmute Olipest. That's fine. Unmute Olivorus. To me, that sounds like a good progression, like a little baby creature evolving into something really big and threatening. So yeah, that's all. I hope that mostly made sense. Like I keep saying, I'm not doing anything that no one else could, and I'm not making any of these with any solid plan. So basically whatever happens, happens really. But I hope it can inspire you a little to start making your own cries and having fun with them. So thanks so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!